Welcome to TradeTheMBA.com. This is John. This report is for the 20th. And well, as much as there was hype and extremism with the option expiration being so massive, uh, it was volatile. We expected that. But at the end of the day, it did pretty much what we expected here. We had magenta over yellow, and it remained so. That kept things going. We'd also talked about the crossover of the blue here to the gray, which gives you that broader sense. And with the DOC was orange caught between cyan and red continuation, which was within the range. We had a huge range of this giant move, which it kind of filled two-thirds of. And literally, when you look at it, we went from back near the peaks of it all the way back to the lows of it. So satisfied that dip below the red line, which we expect coming through. It was a little below the 50%, but matching 50% from before. And back over the 76, right at the edge of it right now. We should be able to maintain that. In fact, you have some benefit here with the orange dipping. If it goes below red, yeah, you return to your positive trend. So all the jabber jawing, exactly that, just a bunch of talk. At the end of the day, just following what the readings are doing. NASDAQ a little bit better from its DOC standpoint. You almost have a crossover of green over red, so that's significant. The shakeouts are still a little wonky, meaning they're really that extra volatility hasn't given complete clarity. So that's not exactly an ideal situation, but moving back in the right direction. The key is any move to the plus side, it has to remain that way. Otherwise, you're going to get a much deeper correction. So we always look for that, but not the case at this particular point. From a treasury standpoint, again, the whole talk of the credit crisis and that's starting to build up again. Everyone's expecting the Fed's going to jump in with this massive liquidity. I think that might be a bit optimistic, especially given the fact that with oil heading into these levels, and if it can remain this way another week or two, this starts to have a real impact because it certainly lightens the load and certainly moves more towards not just lower inflation, but you could reach that edge of where prices actually come down somewhat. Um, Not likely to happen in any large degree because you've already had the acceleration in labor costs and that, so there's not as much room as you would. So you have a new baseline that's been developed, and this becomes where things are. You have to work off of that, and that just becomes the reality of it. The euro is still riding high. Right now, it's forcing a little bit of a short cover rally within that, but any dip of the magenta at this particular stage would be a move back towards the 0%, which has now risen to where it was down at the previous lows, but still way elevated given what we're seeing from the real implosion of Germany. Numbers from France are not great. It's shocking dismantling of their manufacturing with their whole carbon neutral viewpoint, and it's really killing their automotive industry completely. From gold, taking a little pause, but it hasn't changed. All you've got is your dip of steel below the negative 13 here. Once it moves back above, you'll get the resurgence back in gold again because you're still a long way from a cyan to red crossover, and that you'd have to see pretty huge move to the downside, and it just doesn't seem likely because nothing's changed as far as the reasons that are driving it, and that's demand. The demand, this is something that regular indicators don't accommodate for because they get overbought and they say it's overbought. Well, not overbought. If you have new buyers coming in, that's not overbought. That's they don't have a calculation for that, and that's the problem with them. That's why I ended up making our indicators. But from a BTC standpoint, turnaround taking place here and the magenta coming above. It's okay. I wouldn't call that super strong by any stretch, but you were also in pretty extreme condition. Things had moved. We almost got exactly to that fill from way back, well off the screen in this particular case, and the shakeout is still declining. So this may be enough to bring the shakeout back from the depths, but you can see important that the extreme has moved from the magenta here, which was in the negative 60 range, back above. So that becomes a much better catalyst from an upside view, and ETH mimicking it. So those are stabilized now after they had their major credit, fallout from the whole giant move, and then it was pretty dramatic for them. But it cleared a lot of weak hands, and then it sets up things where you don't have as much volatility because you don't have as much. You might want to call day traders or whatever messing around with the situation. From our intraday, though, you can see started out by filling that previous extreme level down there, and then you had the short cover rally, which was the white leading, but magenta still over yellow, and it overtook it, and that led to your nice spike. When it did fade, there still wasn't enough short movement taking place in there. So once you got magenta back over, even when the MBI white was rising, and you had a brief dip right here where it came slightly down. The magenta regained that push, and that drove another short cover rally to the close, and that's where we ended up. So you're literally right back where we started for several days ago. No change, but a lot of drama in between. And you can see I've added our little data window here so that when I talk about those numbers, you can see what they really are. It just makes it a little easier visual to pick up, because sometimes it might be hard to see on the screen some of the individual numbers and what they actually mean, but they really represent the forward point of, well, watch, wherever I switch to, it flips the values to it, so it makes it easy to see. But it was a pretty clean from that standpoint. All those who were positioned heavily short got burned out pretty fast, and that led to the beginning setup for the new week. Asian session was relatively positive going in, and the European one, they're just filling back all of these positive extremes from right about here, and we just filled those a few moments ago, so everything's pretty congruent and set up slightly on the green side. All in all, good stuff. Anything relevant, I will certainly let you know. Have a good one. Trade well.